Are dreams nothing more than the brain's late-night housekeeping, random sparks of neurons firing as memory and emotion tangle in sleep? Or could they be something far older, deeper, and more intentional? Across much of the modern world, psychology and neuroscience offer compelling explanations: dreams as subconscious processing, emotional regulation, or fragments of lived experience stitched together by a resting mind. These explanations are powerful, useful, and often accurate. Yet they are not the only way humanity has understood dreams. Long before laboratories, scanners, and theories of cognition existed, people across Africa were already asking a different question: not how dreams happen, but who might be speaking through them. In many African spiritual traditions, dreams are not dismissed as mental noise or symbolic riddles to be decoded by therapists. They are treated as doorways, portals, thresholds where the visible and invisible worlds brush against one another. When the body sleeps and the waking ego loosens its grip, the soul becomes receptive. In this state, ancestors, those who lived, loved, suffered, and died before, are believed to step closer, using dreams as a sacred channel of communication. To dream, in this worldview, is not merely to imagine, it is to listen. This understanding reshapes the very nature of sleep. Night is no longer an empty pause between days, but a meaningful space of encounter. Dreams are not accidents. They are messages delivered when the mind is quiet enough to hear. Ancestral spirits are thought to choose this liminal state because it strips away arrogance, distraction, and resistance. In dreams, the living cannot argue, deny, or interrupt. They can only receive. Across diverse African cultures, from West and Central Africa to the southern regions of the continent, dreams are woven into daily life, moral guidance, and communal decision-making. Elders often ask not only how someone is feeling, but what they have dreamed. A dream may explain an illness, reveal the cause of persistent misfortune, or announce that an ancestor has been neglected in ritual remembrance. In some communities, a significant dream is never treated as private property. It belongs to the family, the lineage, sometimes even the entire village, because its meaning may affect more than one life. Unlike the symbolic dream interpretation common in modern psychology, ancestral dreams are often direct and unmistakable. An ancestor may appear clearly, speaking in a familiar voice, wearing clothing associated with their life, or repeating a message until it is understood. These dreams are remembered vividly, carrying emotional weight that lingers long after waking. Fear, peace, urgency, or profound clarity often accompanies them, signals that this was not an ordinary dream, but a spiritual encounter. Warnings are among the most common ancestral messages delivered through dreams. A sudden image of fire, flood, or blood may foretell danger. A dream of a broken path or collapsing house might signal moral failure or impending conflict within the family. In many traditions, ignoring such dreams is considered dangerous. Misfortune that follows is not seen as punishment, but as the natural consequence of refusing guidance freely offered by those who still care for the living from the other side. Yet dreams are not only warnings. They are also blessings. Ancestors may offer reassurance during times of grief, appearing to show they are at peace. They may guide a young person toward a calling, revealing the path of a healer, leader, or protector. They may even disclose hidden truths, family secrets buried by shame, unresolved conflicts that continue to disturb the spiritual balance of the lineage. Through dreams, the past speaks so the future may heal. What makes this perspective especially powerful is its relational nature. In African spiritual thought, ancestors are not distant ghosts or abstract spirits. They are active members of the community, invested in the well-being of their descendants. Dreams become conversations across time, sustained by memory, ritual, and respect. To dream of an ancestor is to be reminded that one is never truly alone, that identity stretches backward and forward, linking generations in an unbroken chain. This worldview does not necessarily reject psychology. Rather, it expands beyond it. Where modern science often asks what the dream reveals about the individual mind, African spirituality asks what the dream reveals about relationships between the living and the dead, the individual and the community, the present and the past. Dreams are not solely internal experiences. They are events that occur within a wider spiritual ecosystem. As we step into this journey, we are invited to suspend the assumption that dreams are meaningless shadows. Instead, we open ourselves to the possibility that they are deliberate communications, shaped by wisdom older than written history. We will explore how ancestral whispers travel through sleep, how symbols become instructions, and how ignoring or honoring these messages can shape destiny itself. This is not a journey into fantasy, but into an alternative way of knowing, one that has guided societies for centuries. Along the way, we will uncover stories of dreams that saved families from disaster, redirected lives from ruin, and revealed truths that waking eyes could not see. We will examine how these nocturnal messages warn, guide, comfort, and reveal, acting as bridges between worlds. So the next time you wake from a dream that feels strangely alive, one that refuses to fade, one that seems to look back at you, pause before dismissing it. Ask not only what your mind was doing, but who might have been speaking. In the silence of the night, when consciousness loosens its grip, the portal opens, and through it the ancestors whisper. In African spiritual traditions, dreams are not vague puzzles meant to confuse the dreamer. They are a language, structured, intentional, and rooted in cultural memory. Like any language, ancestral dreams rely on symbols, repeated figures, and shared meanings that have been refined across generations. To understand such dreams is not merely to interpret images, but to learn how ancestors speak when words alone are not enough. Decoding this language requires attention, humility, and an awareness that symbols in an African context are never random. One of the most common elements in ancestral dreams is nature itself. Rivers, forests, mountains, animals, and weather are not background scenery. They are active carriers of meaning. A recurring river, for example, holds deep spiritual significance across many African cultures. Flowing water often represents the boundary between worlds, the living and the ancestral, the known and the unseen. To dream of crossing a river may signal a major life transition, initiation into adulthood, acceptance of a spiritual calling, or the need to move away from destructive patterns. A calm, clear river suggests harmony and ancestral approval, while turbulent or muddy water may warn of imbalance, unresolved conflict, or spiritual neglect. Animals, too, speak with powerful symbolic voices. In many traditions, specific animals are associated with particular lineages or ancestral spirits. Dreaming repeatedly of a snake may not represent fear or temptation, as it often does in Western symbolism, but wisdom, healing, and ancestral power. Among some communities, the snake is a guardian of sacred knowledge and a messenger between worlds. Likewise, the appearance of an eagle or hawk can signify ancestral oversight, an elder spirit watching from above, offering protection or urging the dreamer to see beyond immediate circumstances. The lion may embody courage and leadership inherited from forebears, while nocturnal animals such as owls can signal hidden truths or warnings that demand careful attention rather than panic. Beyond symbols, ancestral dreams often feature recurring human figures. These are not faceless characters or shifting identities, but specific presences that return again and again. An elder woman dressed in traditional cloth, a man carrying a familiar walking staff, or a deceased parent standing silently at a distance. Such figures are recognized not by explanation, but by feeling. Dreamers often report an immediate sense of recognition, even if the ancestor died before they were born. This recognition is considered evidence of lineage memory, passed spiritually rather than biologically. The role of these recurring ancestral figures is rarely decorative. Each appearance carries purpose. An ancestor who speaks may be delivering direct instruction, urging reconciliation, warning against a choice, or demanding the performance of a neglected ritual. An ancestor who remains silent may be observing, signaling dissatisfaction or waiting for the dreamer to show awareness. Repeated appearances often mean the message has not yet been understood or acted upon. In African spiritual logic, repetition is not coincidence, it is insistence. To ignore such dreams is believed to create spiritual imbalance. Many traditions hold that when ancestors are unheard, their guidance may shift from gentle instruction to more disruptive forms, illness, repeated misfortune, or persistent unrest. The dream, therefore, is the most compassionate form of communication. It is an invitation rather than a punishment. Real-life accounts bring this belief into vivid focus. In one widely shared story from West Africa, a young farmer repeatedly dreamed of his late grandfather pointing to a specific area of land and shaking his head in silence. After months of ignoring the dream, the farmer experienced repeated crop failure. Finally, guided by an elder, he investigated the land and discovered that it contained an unmarked ancestral burial site. After performing proper rites and relocating his farm, both the dreams and the misfortune ceased. In another account from southern Africa, a woman dreaming of a river flooding her home sought the counsel of a diviner. The dream was interpreted as a warning of emotional and spiritual overload caused by unresolved family conflict. Acting on this guidance, she initiated reconciliation with estranged relatives. Shortly afterward, the dream stopped, replaced by visions of clear water and open paths, symbols of restored balance. These stories are not treated as superstition within their cultural contexts. They are considered evidence of a functioning relationship between generations. Dreams become a moral compass, aligning personal choices with ancestral wisdom. They remind individuals that their lives are not isolated journeys, but chapters in a much longer story. Decoding the ancestral language of dreams, then, is not about mastering a fixed dictionary of symbols. It is about learning to listen within a cultural and spiritual framework where meaning is relational. The river speaks differently depending on the dreamer's life. The animal appears with purpose tied to lineage. The ancestor returns not to haunt, but to guide. In this way, dreams become acts of remembrance and responsibility. They call the living to honor the past, correct the present, and safeguard the future. To understand them is to accept that wisdom does not end with death. It simply learns to speak in another voice, one that reaches us most clearly when we close our eyes and sleep. In African spiritual traditions, the night is not a time of vulnerability, but of guardianship. While the physical body rests, unseen protectors are believed to stand watch, using dreams as their most subtle yet powerful instrument. Ancestors are understood not merely as memories of the past, but as active guardians of the living, deeply invested in the safety and moral balance of their descendants. Through dreams, they issue warnings, offer protection, and reveal truths that daylight often conceals. Dreams are widely regarded as early warning systems, spiritual alarms that sound before danger becomes visible. Illness, betrayal, accidents, or social conflict rarely arrive without notice. Instead, they announce themselves in symbolic visions, sent by ancestors who perceive disturbances long before human senses do. A dream of falling repeatedly may signal weakening spiritual or physical strength. Being chased through darkness can indicate unseen threats or hostile intentions forming within one's environment. In many communities, such dreams are not dismissed as anxiety, but treated as calls for immediate attention and action. Health-related warnings are among the most serious ancestral messages delivered through dreams. A person may dream of their body being pierced, bound, or submerged, images interpreted as signs of impending illness or spiritual attack. Elders often stress that the dream is not the illness itself, but a merciful notification, an opportunity to intervene early. Ritual cleansing, offerings, or consultation with a healer may follow, not as superstition, but as preventative care grounded in ancestral wisdom. When these warnings are heeded, the danger is believed to lose its power, Beyond physical harm, dreams also protect against moral and social danger. Ancestors are thought to reveal jealousy, deceit, or betrayal through unsettling nocturnal visions. Dreaming of a close friend wearing a mask, a familiar face speaking with a distorted voice, or a trusted home collapsing from within may signal dishonesty hidden beneath appearances. Such dreams do not always name the deceiver, but they sharpen the dreamer's awareness, encouraging caution, patience, and discernment. In this way, dreams function as shields, protecting relationships and communities from unseen corruption. Equally important is the role of dreams in revealing forgotten or hidden knowledge. Many African traditions hold that certain truths are deliberately buried by time, trauma, or human fear. Ancestors, having crossed beyond the limitations of the physical world, are believed to remember what the living have lost. Through dreams, they return this knowledge in fragments, a half-remembered song, an old family name, a sacred object hidden in dust. These visions are often quiet rather than dramatic, carrying a sense of familiarity that stirs recognition rather than surprise. Such revelatory dreams have restored broken lineages and resolved long-standing misfortune. A dream revealing the location of an abandoned shrine may explain generations of unexplained hardship. Another may expose an unresolved oath or wrongdoing that continues to disturb the ancestral order. In these cases, the dream does not accuse, it informs. It invites repair rather than punishment, offering the living a chance to restore balance and harmony. Understanding these dreams is rarely a solitary task. Traditional societies recognize that ancestral messages require careful interpretation, guided by ritual and communal wisdom. One common practice is the telling of the dream at dawn, before the sun fully rises. Speaking the dream aloud is believed to stabilize its meaning and prevent distortion. Elders listen not only to the images, but to the emotions, repetitions, and silences within the dream. Divination is another important tool in decoding nocturnal messages. Through methods such as casting objects, consulting sacred symbols, or entering trance states, diviners seek confirmation of the dream's message. This process does not replace the dream, but clarifies it, grounding the vision in cultural knowledge passed down through generations. In some traditions, offerings of water, food, or incense are made to thank the ancestors for their warning, reinforcing the reciprocal relationship between worlds. Cleansing rituals may follow troubling dreams, especially those involving death, blood, or disorder. These rituals are not expressions of fear, but acts of respect. They acknowledge that the dream has crossed the boundary and that balance must be restored. By washing the body, purifying the home, or offering prayers, the dreamer symbolically closes the danger while honoring the messenger. Through all these practices, one truth remains constant: dreams are not meant to frighten, but to protect. Even the most disturbing vision is understood as an act of care, sent before harm becomes inevitable. The ancestors, as guardians of the night, choose dreams because they are intimate and personal, tailored to the soul of the dreamer. They speak not in commands, but in images that awaken responsibility. In a world increasingly dominated by noise and speed, this ancient understanding invites a quieter form of vigilance. It asks us to trust that guidance does not always arrive with urgency or clarity, but often in symbols whispered through sleep. To honor ancestral dreams is to accept protection offered in its gentlest form, a warning delivered in darkness, so that the light of day may be lived in safety and truth. In African spiritual worldviews, destiny is not a solitary path carved by individual desire alone. It is a shared journey, guided by the living and the dead together. When life reaches its most uncertain crossroads, moments where one choice can alter an entire future, ancestors are believed to step forward through dreams, offering direction drawn from generations of accumulated wisdom. These dreams are not casual suggestions. They are interventions, arriving precisely when clarity is needed most. Marriage is one of the most common life decisions influenced by ancestral dreams. In many traditions, Marriage is not simply a union between two individuals, but a binding of lineages. Dreams may reveal approval or concern long before any conflict surfaces in waking life. A person may dream of an ancestor blessing a union with symbolic gifts, water, cloth, or light, signs of harmony and continuity. Conversely, repeated dreams of obstacles, silence, or ancestral withdrawal may signal that a proposed marriage carries hidden imbalance. Such warnings are not judgments of love, but cautions rooted in the protection of family stability. When these dreams are respected, they are believed to prevent future suffering that reason alone cannot foresee. Career choices and personal ambitions are also shaped by ancestral guidance. In African thought, work is not merely a means of survival, it is a contribution to communal balance. Dreams may redirect a person away from a path driven by ego toward one aligned with service. A young man dreaming repeatedly of abandoned fields may be called to restore family land rather than pursue distant success. A woman dreaming of teaching children or healing the sick may be encouraged to embrace a vocation that reflects ancestral values. These dreams often arrive during periods of frustration or uncertainty, gently correcting direction rather than imposing force. Community decisions, too, are influenced by ancestral messages delivered through dreams. Elders, chiefs, and leaders are expected to pay close attention to their visions, especially before major events such as migrations, alliances, or conflict resolution. A dream foretelling drought or division may prompt preventive rituals or dialogue, averting disaster through foresight rather than reaction. Leadership, in this context, is inseparable from spiritual attentiveness. A leader who ignores ancestral guidance risks not only personal failure, but communal harm. Among the most powerful forms of ancestral communication is the calling dream. These dreams do not advise a choice, they announce a destiny. Often vivid and emotionally overwhelming, a calling dream may involve an ancestor placing sacred objects in the dreamer's hands, leading them to a shrine, or speaking words that echo long after waking. Such dreams are commonly associated with spiritual roles, healers, diviners, ritual leaders, or with forms of moral leadership within the community. Calling dreams are rarely singular events. They return persistently, sometimes intensifying when ignored. Physical symptoms such as restlessness, illness, or recurring misfortune may accompany resistance, not as punishment, but as pressure urging alignment with purpose. Acceptance of the calling often brings relief and clarity. As the individual steps into a role that feels both demanding and deeply familiar. In many cultures, this familiarity is understood as ancestral memory awakening within the living. Maintaining a clear connection with ancestors is essential for these dreams to remain meaningful. Communication is believed to thrive on respect, remembrance, and reciprocity. Simple offerings, water, food, light, or prayer, are acts of acknowledgement, affirming that ancestral guidance is valued rather than taken for granted. These gestures do not buy dreams, they maintain harmony, ensuring that messages flow without distortion. Neglect, by contrast, is believed to cloud communication. When ancestors are forgotten, dreams may become confusing, fragmented, or cease altogether. This silence is often interpreted as withdrawal rather than absence, a reminder that relationships, even spiritual ones, require care. Regular remembrance rituals, storytelling, and moral living are all considered ways of keeping the ancestral channel open. Dreams, in this framework, are not tools of control but expressions of care. Ancestors do not remove free will, they illuminate consequences. The dreamer always retains the power to choose, but that choice is enriched by insight drawn from beyond a single lifetime. At life's crossroads, this guidance becomes invaluable, offering a perspective shaped by experience no living person could possess alone. To follow ancestral dreams is to walk with history at one's side. It is to recognize that destiny is not discovered in isolation, but revealed through relationship, between past and present, spirit and flesh, memory, and possibility. In listening to these nocturnal guides, individuals do more than shape their own futures. They honor the wisdom that carried them to this moment and ensure its passage into generations yet to come. Ancient wisdom does not fade simply because centuries pass. It waits, patient, observant, until the moment humanity is ready to listen again. In African spiritual traditions, the understanding of dreams as ancestral communication has survived colonial disruption, religious transformation, and the rapid acceleration of modern life. Even now, on December 19, 2025, these beliefs continue to shape how millions of people interpret their inner worlds, make decisions, and find meaning in an increasingly fragmented age. In cities filled with screens, schedules, and constant noise, dreams remain one of the few spaces untouched by technology. They arrive without permission, beyond algorithms and data, speaking in images that resist control. For many Africans and members of the diaspora, ancestral dream wisdom has not disappeared, it has adapted. Dreams are still discussed in family conversations, interpreted alongside modern education, and respected as personal yet culturally rooted experiences. A professional may analyze data by day and reflect on ancestral dreams by night, seeing no contradiction between the two. In this coexistence, ancient wisdom proves not outdated, but remarkably resilient. Modern challenges have, in fact, made ancestral dream traditions more relevant than ever. Anxiety, identity confusion, and spiritual disconnection are widespread. In contemporary society, dreams that speak of roots, lineage, and belonging offer something psychology alone often cannot, a sense of continuity. For individuals navigating migration, cultural loss, or generational trauma, dreams of ancestors restore identity by reminding them where they come from and what values endure. These nocturnal encounters become quiet anchors in a fast-moving world. Healthcare workers, artists, activists, and community leaders continue to report dreams that guide their choices and sustain their resilience. Some describe dreams of ancestors encouraging them to persist in social justice work when exhaustion sets in. Others speak of dreams that reveal emotional truths long buried under productivity and expectation. Even when interpreted symbolically rather than literally, these dreams function as sources of moral clarity and inner alignment. The power lies not only in belief, but in the act of listening. This enduring legacy invites a broader audience to reconsider their own relationship with dreams. One does not need to belong to an African tradition to ask deeper questions about nocturnal experiences. What if recurring dreams are not meaningless loops, but reflections demanding attention? What if a dream that refuses to fade carries insight about fear, purpose, or unresolved relationships? Ancestral wisdom does not insist on blind acceptance. It encourages curiosity, patience, and respect for inner knowledge. Bridging the gap between ancient tradition and modern life begins with attention. Keeping a dream journal, reflecting on emotions rather than dismissing images, and discussing dreams with trusted people are simple yet powerful acts. These practices echo ancestral methods of listening, adapted to contemporary contexts. They slow the mind, creating space for understanding beyond immediate logic. In doing so, they reconnect individuals to a rhythm older than modern timekeeping, the rhythm of reflection, rest, and insight. This bridge is not about abandoning science or reason. It is about expanding the conversation. Modern psychology asks what dreams reveal about the brain. Ancestral wisdom asks what dreams reveal about relationships, values, and continuity. Together, they offer a fuller picture of the human experience. When these perspectives meet, dreams become not battlegrounds of belief, but meeting places of understanding. The legacy of ancestral dream wisdom ultimately lies in its invitation. It does not demand certainty. It asks only that we listen more carefully to our dreams, to our histories, and to one another. In a world often divided by noise and opinion, dreams remain deeply personal yet universally human. They remind us that beneath cultural differences, the act of dreaming is shared by all. As this journey concludes, the question returns to you. What have your dreams been saying? Have there been symbols, faces, or emotions that linger longer than others? Have certain dreams returned at moments of change or uncertainty? Whether you interpret them spiritually, psychologically, or somewhere in between, your experiences matter. We invite you to share them. In the comments below, tell us about a dream that stayed with you, guided you, or challenged you. Share how you understand it, or how you are still searching for meaning. By doing so, you become part of a living dialogue that stretches across time, connecting ancient wisdom with modern voices. The echoes are still there. All that remains is the courage to listen,